Hello and welcome to On Air with Owen. Me, Owen Richards, founder and CEO of Air Marketing, your go-to for outsourced B2B sales and marketing, and my new co-host, fellow business owner and great friend, Neil Finnie.
Hey everyone, Neil Finnie here, founder of the Generator Work Hub, a co-working space here in the beautiful Exeter, and also Next Gen Careers, a professional development program nurturing the talents of tomorrow.
Each week, we'll be diving into the everyday truths around running your own business. And trust me, we're not sugarcoating anything. It's all about the highs, the lows, and everything between when you run your own business as a founder.
Expect candid conversations and valuable insights between the two of us. Plus, we'll be joined by some special guests along the way.
So, time to sit back and tune in to this week's honest conversation.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of On Air with me, Owen, and Neil, who's chatting in the background, as you could already hear. Neil Finnie, I should do the big thing. Neil Finnie. How are you, mate?
Oh, I feel a bit boxy.
Oh, this is going to be a juicy one.
Fighting talk.
Let's set the scene. All right, let's set the scene. So we always sort of like have a little conversation about what we're going to talk about. Neil was very clear today on what he wanted to talk about. And he's going to talk about something that really grinds his gears. That's a good phrase, isn't it? Really grinds his gears. And yeah, you're fiery. You're ready to go on this one, aren't you? So I'll give you the stage. You tell us. Yeah, okay, fair enough. We're a bit late.
A week, yeah. I think.
Well, wind you back. Get your head in that space. Come on, get your head back there. Get like, imagine you're a week ago. We're recording this a week ago. You're ready to go. It's raw. It's in your head. You're feeling angry. We've jumped straight on to record a podcast because we got nothing better to do. And here we are to talk about it. The floor is yours. Tell us what we're talking about today, Neil.
Morals and ethics.
What's
business
that?
ethics, business morals. Yeah, you have none. You're in sales. Yeah, look, I think. Yeah, it's an interesting one. And I have mellowed since last week. And to be honest, it wasn't. Yeah, it just kind of irked me a little bit. So a bit of context. So this is relating specifically to the generator, to the co-work space, and we understand that, in the business of co-working, of office space, people move, people go to different spaces, and there's a number of co-work spaces in Exeter now. We were the OG, but nowadays with the interest and the way that people work in this hybrid fashion, co-work spacing is getting big, and there's more and more spaces that are coming into the city. We always feel that everyone has something a little bit different to offer. We don't think we're the right fit for everyone. Most people, yes, but not everyone. So we have I thought we had quite a good relationship with the other co-work spaces in the city, and we would support them. And if we felt we noticed issues, and we did notice an issue with the co-work space, actually the one that annoyed me a little bit, and we let them know that, hey, here's an issue that we're seeing in regards to one of the third-party platforms that they were using, that they weren't being maybe advertised in the right way, and we let them know. As far as we're concerned, it's only good for the city to have more spaces like the generator in it. But the one thing that we won't do is we won't promote to anyone else's members in the co-work space. If people want to come across and they want to find out more about us, of course, open door, come and have a look. But we won't target them with marketing. We can quite easily on Companies House go and grab all of the addresses. And in fact, we do. But the reason that we do is so we can remove them from our target marketing. So we make sure that we're not hitting up other people's members.
So you go as far as proactively not putting them in there.
Yeah. So if we're reaching out stuff, we say, look, we feel that this is yours. We're going to make sure we don't target them, because I think there's an element of, I would be a little bit embarrassed if I targeted someone else's members at their co-work space and offered them the same services to come down to us. Exeter's so small. Like if I was in a London, I was in a Bristol, maybe it'd be different. But it's so small. It's like, well, actually, no, we don't need to go after yours, and we'll make sure that we kind of leave them to where they are. Now we'd started receiving this this kind of package, and we're receiving a lot of them to members in the space. This same kind of package. You notice things, the team had noticed. We're getting a lot of these. These are kind of strange. They look very similar. And then we have postal clients, and sometimes the postal clients are like, "Oh, can you open that for us? We're not going to be able to get in. Just let us know what it is." And we opened it, and there's a brochure and a handwritten note from another co-work space in the city, and you're like, oh, that feels quite targeted. It feels, they know who's in our space, and again, there's lots of people that are based there. I think because it was handwritten, that to me doesn't seem like a bulk marketing campaign. Someone's going to get a very sore wrist if you're writing letters to the whole of Exeter in regards to highlighting your services and what you offer. So it feels
was it actually
quite
like
targeted.
properly handwritten? Because there are these things where you can you can print it off and it looks handwritten and that sort of stuff.
It was handwritten. Definitely. I know the ones you mean. I've had some of those. Someone sent me a chocolate bar in one, which was lovely before, handwritten, kind of printed off note. And it irked me. I was like, is that right? Like, is that okay? Is it open season now that we can all just target each other's community? And I put a LinkedIn post because I was really annoyed, and it's quite cathartic, isn't it? Writing stuff down. I
Get it
put
off
it in
your
a
chest.
LinkedIn post about how disappointed I was. I wasn't angry, I was disappointed.
Thanks, Dad.
And is it, are we being too nice? The nice guys finish last. It's not something that we would do. We want to make sure that we're not stepping on people's toes. And I put it live. As soon as I put it live, I had regrets because I didn't want it to be that kind of negative marketing where you're using something that's negative to try and raise awareness. And very quickly we had like 3 people posting kind of in support, being like, oh, don't follow what they're doing. You do what you do it in the right way. And I took it down really, really quickly. And a couple of other people had noticed it and said, look, don't change what you're doing. But it just got me thinking, is like, well, maybe it is okay, and I don't mind competition. I believe in competition and, healthy competition. And, if it did feel like mass marketing, like I've received LinkedIn requests from other co-work spaces asking me to go and check out their co-work space because do I want to move? Have a look at my profile, and the likelihood is I'm not going to move from the generator.
And that's just where you're in a list, right? Because you're a director of a company in Exeter, for example. Yeah.
You're director, and it's just a bot, and it's all sent out.
And that feels better. Like for you, you're okay with that?
I'm okay with that because for me, that's a bot running in the background. Maybe it's targeted, but the fact that it was so blatantly obvious that I work at the generator and I'm the founder of the generator, and to me, it was like, well, actually, and I don't mind mass marketing. I can't stop someone putting something on an advert or on Facebook and everything else. It was the fact that we've seen a lot of these come through and handwritten, and I don't know, maybe their team, you've got a bunch of little Santa's elves in their off season just writing these notes and they're sending them across. So maybe that's the case, and I think from my side, as I said, because we're very careful not to stand on other people's toes in the co-work side of things in Exeter, that it's like, well, actually, why are we worrying? Let's just reach out to everyone, and if so be it. But I think I'd still feel a little bit bad. Am I just being sensitive?
No, look, I think there's a lot of layers in here. Keen to explore them, and I think it just like maybe translates into some other areas of business ethics and morals and things as well. I don't think you're being overly sensitive, in so much as I think your feelings are genuine feelings and are warranted and fair, and I think are natural. So. I think it's all really normal. I guess there's a couple of things that we don't know in this. One is, has the owner of that business, who personally, gone, I'm going to target those people, or has some employee in that business gone off and got given a bit of budget and come up with an idea? And those are 2 different things in themselves, aren't they? So go on.
I don't look. It's like they've got more than one space, and I think this is slightly different as well. And I think think it's maybe also, and I've thought about this, because everyone's lumped into this bracket of co-work space, and I think I don't think that's entirely true. Actually, there was someone in the generator who had a co-work space in Vietnam, and she said that when she came to the generator, it felt like what she was trying to create in Vietnam, which was more community based. And we've always said that. We're more community focused. Co-work space with soul. We're not necessarily about
Yeah.
running it as a business. I would say Propeller down in Exmouth, and I'm going to name Propeller because I love Jim and I love Propeller and I love what they do. They wouldn't do it. I wouldn't receive something from them because I think they're more in our kind of mindset in terms of you're trying to
Small
build
business,
community,
yeah.
you're trying to do things organic. Whereas I think the other co-work spaces that we see, they have multiple locations, whether it's 3 or 4 in the Southwest or national across the UK or even
Yeah.
international, because your Regises of the world are going into that kind of side there. And I think they view it more as business in terms
Yeah.
of
course.
maybe that leads them to be more aggressive, whereas we're actually we care about Exeter, we care about the ecosystem, so we don't want to ruffle any feathers because that's where we live, that's where we do business, and we
the
want to make
relation,
sure
the person doing that thing is not necessarily the person that you might have a relationship with, right? So let me give you the opposite story, a different context, but what I think is probably the opposite way around, which is with us. So I have a reasonably strong relationship with another agency owner. That agency owner is not in Exeter, but is fairly large, and I've known him for a number of years. I got a phone call 4 years ago from him out of the blue. And when we were moving through COVID and starting to hire remotely for the first time, we happened to effectively headhunt one of his employees. Now, when I say we, I have an internal recruiter. So that person is doing their job. They're looking at businesses. They're looking at people that are making moves, putting posts on around other jobs, looking for roles. They've got their CVs on CV library to be approached. That person has looked at that and gone, they've got relevant experience with a competitor. They've got their CV on, posted up, looking for opportunities. I'm going to make contact with them. They've approached them. They've got in a conversation. They've gone through our recruitment process. That person knew that employee was leaving that job and joining us before I knew. I had no idea because I'm not involved in that process. For him, it was really emotional because he's going, we've got a relationship and I'm really disappointed that you would do this. For me, I'm saying, look, we're not targeting your people, but there's a process. I don't know how that person ended up in a conversation. Latterly, I found out that person had put their CV up on on CV library where you can effectively say, I'm looking for opportunities. And our internal recruiters had done their job. And if you were to go to the nth degree of everyone we know, we'd effectively write off all of our competitors and nobody with industry experience would ever join us. That wasn't a personal thing for me, but I saw his point of view. And I think we kind of, we explained the situation and I think he accepted that. But I don't think he could have changed his feelings around it, which was like you, he was disappointed and probably quite frustrated. Thing with that is that if it wasn't me doing it, or our business, somebody else would, because that person was advertising. So there is a little bit of a difference there, but I guess you see my point, which is that it's a business doing business and you're looking at it from an individual's perspective, which is you as a human that cares about the people in your community and cares about your business and its success, versus maybe the people in that business who are the marketing team, who are incentivized by driving opportunities in and who see that as an opportunity to do that. No, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just an interesting, it's like the opposite view,
no,
isn't it?
and I get the point, and as I said, like I don't mind. I don't like. I think it's. I don't mind the kind of the bulk marketing, that kind of widespread marketing. And actually, we've had a response from them saying that that's what it was. We reach out to hundreds of organisations in the city. We just want to make them aware of who we are. Maybe that was the case, but I think that it just feels very targeted. And I think when we look at it again, I think it's because we're more careful. We're more careful. It's not that our address is pretty well known in the city centre. If you say King's Wharf, especially those people that are marketing, they would know. You'd see it, and the team it's not a multinational organisation. I think the team would have seen it, or might have flagged. I would hope one of my team might have flagged it up with. They would have known the address. They would have said, actually, this. Do we want to do this? Is this right? But maybe it is fine. Do we do it now? Is that all right? Like if I think so.
Well,
And I'm not saying like open season, but like maybe we should not have too many concerns. I say, actually, let's not have to jump through those hoops of not targeting those people or not even sending those people information. Let's just make it more open. But to me, that just I think I'd feel a bit odd as well if I was sending something to another co-work space, being like, come down and see us.
Look, I
doesn't
think
fit with me.
yeah, and I think that you're right to have that those morals, and you shouldn't live your life by somebody else's rules. You should live them by your own, right? And I think that you know, don't because somebody else does something, whether it's right or wrong. And look, let's face it, it's neither right nor wrong. It is just what they've done, and
It's a grey
it's all
area.
Yeah, it is. But I think that just because they do it, if you feel that is something you're uncomfortable with, you should stick to your own standards and not to theirs.
Yeah.
You are a different business, you're a different person. So no, you shouldn't just start doing it. I think there's also another interesting point here, which is that, you know, I don't know how many people opened that and would have gone, oh, let's go and have a look. I don't think it would have been very many, right? I don't think many at all.
But I think that's never the issue. That was never the issue. Like, again, if people want to go, that's because we're not doing what we do well enough. You know, if people see that and actually then up and leave, either we're not the right fit for them, so that's
it's not
fine,
right,
or we're not doing what we should be doing and we're losing people, and that's our fault. I am not blaming anyone for people getting up and walking away. You know, and I must admit, Jim and I have slightly different views on this. For me, I would like to sing and shout from the tops about who's in the space and who they are and what they're achieving and what they're doing. I think Jim is a little bit more like, well, we don't want to be pushing people's information out there because other organizations could then approach them. And I think it's
do that
changing
anyway.
slightly. Well, yeah, obviously, quite clearly. So I think it's that thing of, I'm confident in what we offer as being unique to what we do. Again, it doesn't fit for everyone. But yeah, it wasn't so worried about people leaving. It's just like, because X is so small. And the only other, another time I've had it years ago in something a little bit different, had to do with targeting a company's name on Google Ads. So a company I used to work with, you know, and it's a very small industry that I was working in at the time. Wasn't the same city. It was, you know, it was a global industry, but a very small industry. Using a company name
on
on the ads, which to me is like,
but it's a big
not
thing.
illegal.
So
you can do it.
No, of course. So I had, you know, you just reminded me, probably a similar time actually, maybe 3 years ago. I had one of our, I guess one of our more common competitors, I don't know, bigger competitors, was, I like you. In many cases, I've got a good relationship with the owners of our competitive businesses. And in many cases, we do business together. We do partnership deals and all that sort of stuff. So there's loads of positives around this. But one of our competitors was doing exactly that. So they were bidding against air marketing as a search term, with paid ads on Google. So we thought, well, okay, if that's what we're doing, that must be a bit like you. We'll open our doors then. We'd never done it. It didn't need to. So we started doing it. And the funny thing is, we got a phone call from their CMO saying, I'm really sorry, but I've noticed that, or I got a personal message, I think, from LinkedIn, noticed that you've started bidding against our company name. I really don't think it's ethical to do that. And realistically, commercially, the only thing that would happen is that Google will win because we'll end up bidding on yours. And I wrote back and I said, you already are. That's why we've done it. And they hadn't even realized.
They didn't
so somebody
know.
within the marketing team. So again, this is the difference between a company and an individual person. Somebody in the marketing team who I guess was probably new, had done this thinking it was a good idea, or their agency, third-party agency who managed it externally had done it. And the CMO, who was somebody I knew, had no idea it was happening. So they were looking at us and going, "Why are you doing this?" Not realizing. And that's where you almost have to separate business and personal, right? That doesn't mean you shouldn't voice that something is right or wrong, because I think it's okay to say, "Look, come on, this is not the right way to do business." But it was just funny that my learning from that was we should have just done the same, picked up the phone and gone, "Hey guys, what's going on here? Like, we can play the game if you want to, but we're all going to lose money through doing it." But we just decided to fight fire with fire. We've got the same outcome. But it was definitely learning on two fronts. One is just have a conversation, as you did with your example before, and the other is it's not always like the company, the person who owns the company. I think if you're talking
Yeah.
about small businesses where clearly every decision is made by the MD, the owner, the founder, the you or the I in that situation, different. When a business gets to a certain size, and it doesn't have to be that big, decisions get made without you involved in it. And that's not a reflection on you as a person, because you can fix it and change it. It's just the nature of growing a team and growing a business.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, because I think it's that process you go through. I think as an individual and
Mm,
as a business owner, but
yeah.
also I think as an employee as well. Because at the early
Mm,
days of getting involved with Google Ads, we're talking, for me, probably like 15 years ago, and I definitely had that thought. I was like, maybe, maybe I can use keywords of another, but I made the
yeah.
decision not to go through with it. And because I was like, well, is it right? Is it wrong? Maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. But it was like that post that I put as well that I took down. For me, it's that kind of negative spin on things as well for marketing and advertising. I
Mm,
never feel that comfortable with it, and you get loads, don't you? Now, I don't know,
yeah.
do people piggyback off of those celebrity deaths that we get, and all of a sudden
Yeah.
everyone is,
Yeah. Yeah.
David Bowie, how it inspired them for their I don't know, product launch or something, and it's, even though he's dead quite a while now, but it's like it's these processes you go through with business, in
Mm,
terms of the
mm.
right thing to do or the wrong thing to do, and you don't always get it right. I've made
No.
mistakes and things that I've kind of,
No. No.
shouldn't have done that, or that wasn't really ethical.
Mm. You've also got like, this is the new thing I've seen on LinkedIn. It's like public beef is a new thing because it drums up so much like awareness and so much engagement. People literally having beef with each other, getting in arguments, debating, publicly calling people out on LinkedIn, particularly in the sales community, because so many people dive on
Really?
it and engage it. Yeah, and it's become more and more common. And I think it's one of those things that people are genuinely doing, like strategically now, to get attention. And this is the problem in our, where social is being such a big marketing tool and a voice. Everyone's got a voice in business. That's dangerous. It's bad enough as an individual, right? That individual views and all the rest of it. But then you line that up alongside business. All of a sudden, you've got human beings expressing their opinions, their feelings, their emotions, which quite frankly have no place in business when it comes to running it. But actually, realistically, they do, because we're not going to get rid of them. It's people driving business, and it's hard when you get two people that are having a barney about who's done what and all the rest of it on a public forum. There's hundreds of comments, and you go, well, go back to that mantra.
That
Is all
that
publicity good publicity? I wouldn't like it.
Well, no, that to me seems, that toxicity online, and I guess that you play with fire with that kind of thing. I think there's certain things you can or can't do. Maybe it's well orchestrated, where maybe both parties are aware of it. I don't know.
No, there's
One
one.
of
So there's one going around in our industry where this guy, and he is well known, is sending out LinkedIn messages to people saying, "Beware of these 6 people. They're fraudsters, etc., etc., etc." And you're like, "What is going on here?" And they're all just reasonably honest people trying to make a living. They've just had a falling out because he's a bit difficult. I
Okay, so
won't
do
go
you
into
you know
details.
the other ones?
I
Okay, so
know,
it's
I
not
know
the case
most of
that,
the people that he's
okay.
doing that with. Yeah, yeah, and it's if anything, my view is, and I don't. It's probably him that's the difficult one, but
Interesting.
he's
Oh, careful,
using that
Owen.
to
Careful,
leverage
Owen. There'll be
attention.
some. This
No,
this is going to go wild,
I'll
and
tag him.
you're going to
I'll
have
tag him in
you
this. I mean,
tag him
her,
in it.
him,
Let's
her,
go.
him.
Hey.
No names
Um,
mentioned. I'm protecting myself.
so, like, what do you do then? Is it a case of, if you think something doesn't align with you, or if you have concerns, you just don't do it, or do you? Yeah, I guess it's about discussing it with other people as well. Because from my side,
Yeah.
it's like, well, actually, maybe I was too sensitive to it. I think in hindsight, it's like, well, maybe it was mass. Maybe it was just one of those things that happened. But maybe I shouldn't worry so much about stepping on other people's toes. So,
Yeah.
I think, how do you navigate it, or is it just your internal kind of moral business compass?
Well, I think like anything, right? We started this by you saying I was really red hot about this last week, and I've actually calmed down a bit. Like everything, it's a big deal at the time because it's a new emotion you're processing, and over time you realize it. Probably what's going to happen there is you'll forget about it. Nobody will move. You won't lose any business, and there's zero impact. So,
Yeah.
in 6 months' time, you'll have forgotten it. You'll have a story to tell, and that'll be it. So first and foremost, I think it's okay to just go through that process. I think that's really, really natural. The other thing is, I think in terms of what do, you have to really, you got to run your own race. You've got to just move past that sort of stuff as quickly as you can, even if that was hyper personalized and only to 10 people they really wanted and only in your space. In the grand scheme of things, what does it matter? To your point, if you're looking after the people and they're a good fit, it's going to take a hell of a lot for them to want to move spaces, right? They're in a community, they like it, they've built a relationship with you, they'll be paying your bill every month because they feel it's a fair price, they've agreed on that price, all that sort of stuff. There has to be something wrong for them to move. So in the grand scheme of things, the only thing you've got to process really there is your emotional response. Everything else has a net zero impact, and your emotional response is something that's just there in you as a human. I think that's okay. So I think acknowledging it for what it is, right? It's an emotional reaction to something that annoys you, frustrates you because it's a threat. It's a potential threat and it feels like a threat. But the reality of the impact on it is, even if one person did leave, in the grand scheme of things, is minimal. All right, is very, very minimal. So put it to one side for what it is, accept it, let the emotion be what it is, but accept that in a period of time it's gone.
At least it wasn't. Did you watch? I think it was called We Crashed, about WeWork.
Oh yeah, I have seen that. Yeah, with the guy who started it and spent all that money in.
Yeah, well, they would go into a city and offer free space for like 6 months to ruin the other co-work spaces.
Yeah.
And that kind of, that's another level, But is that something you would do? Maybe in a desperate situation, you do stuff like that. So actually, if we had 60% occupancy, we might be like, look, we're paying for this occupancy, we'll give space away, which basically undermines the stability of maybe the pricing structure in the local area.
It's a business strategy, isn't it? It's a business strategy. Is it right? Don't know. But if you remove emotion from it and you make data-driven mathematical business decisions only, and there are people out there, we talked about this a little while on an episode, like Nice Guy, and I think you said, does the nice guy always finish last? And some of the most successful people out there are the people that just have zero emotional connection to their decisions. They are making the best decision for their business. That is their job. Don't worry about sleeping at night because they don't care enough to do that. They're just going to make a black and white decision. Arguably, that WeWork decision is a great decision to get occupancy quickly, and look at where they are from a brand perspective now. We're not
from
those
a business
people.
perspective as well.
Well, that's a whole other thing. Yeah,
I think that didn't work out for them because we didn't bring any money in. It was a shocking decision. It's I don't know. Like I think I can. I think when I sleep at night, I don't wake up in cold sweats thinking about, oh, am I a good person? I think I can hold my head up pretty high. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people will comment in this like, Neil, you're
an
arsehole.
arsehole. Yeah. That was inevitable.
How on earth could you moan about this when you've done this, and this? But no, I think my
everybody's
compass is pretty strong.
That's it. Everyone's got a different moral compass, and I think the point here is that you've got to get back to my point. Run your own race. Worry about what's right for you. Your measurement. If we go back to like the first couple of episodes that we did, where we talked about like what does success look like, and what are you working towards? You're not working towards, building an empire and selling out at 100 million and retiring lonely but with loads of money in your pocket, right? That's unsuccessful for you. Success is healthy family, happy family, enough money to be comfortable, live a good life, etc., etc. So you don't need to do those things to achieve your success, right? But whereas the owner of that multi-space has probably got a board of investors that hold them accountable. They've probably got to deliver a return. So their measurement of success might not be that. Might be they're doing 80-hour weeks. They've got to bring another 100 new. They've got to bring 100 new people in every single month. Whereas you might go, oh, I've got an empty desk. I might need to fill that one, or I've got an empty room there. I might need to fill that one. They're having to do 100 of those a month.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like for us, it's not necessarily a business. Not a business focus, because that's not right. We do want to run it as a business, but the community side of it comes first, and maybe that's why I was more emotional, more sensitive around it, because it's like, hey, this is my family. You can't.
I'm sure the recycling
looking at my
bins
girlfriend.
Your girlfriend. I'm sure the
Wife,
recycling
let me
bins.
clear, I don't have a girlfriend. Liz, I don't have a girlfriend.
Well, you said it now. Hang on. I just make a note for the editing team to chop that bit out.
That about.
Yeah, I'm sure the bins at the generator are full of that paper, mate. I'm sure they're all ripped up, screwed up in the bins, gone out, and everybody I speak to loves it down there. So I think you've got nothing to worry about.
Cheers, mate. Cheers, buddy. Cheers. Oh,
All right.
I feel better.
There you go.
Even
Are you
better,
over it?
even more better now. I'm over it.
I tend to charge about, I don't know, 70 quid an hour for therapy sessions. So
Nice.
I'll send my invoice.
I didn't have to use my Kleenex today to dab my tears away. So maybe I'll give you half the price. You didn't make me cry today. You didn't make me cry.
Sounds good. Buy me a beer. It's all good. It's all good.
On Friday.
Yeah, looking forward to it. All right, mate. Well, look, good to catch up. Thanks as always, and see you on the next episode.
Woodoo. Ciao.
Bye.
See you, mate.